Okay, let's dive right into an absolutely incredible explainer today. We're going to be transforming a seriously ancient text into this high-stakes, cinematic quest, literally of cosmic proportions. So we're looking at a story from way back in a time known as the Krita Age, and it details this extraordinary history of, well, unimaginable power, total desperation, and honestly, the ultimate sacrifice. If you're the kind of person who appreciates a story where the fate of the entire universe hangs by a tiny thread, you are absolutely going to love how this ancient mystery unfolds.
So here's the ultimate tactical question, right? How do you actually defeat an enemy that is literally described as invincible in battle? I mean, we're starting with an absolute crisis here. The Celestials, the gods themselves, are completely on the run. They are entirely outmatched, backed into a corner, and facing an opponent that simply cannot be destroyed by any conventional means. To really wrap our heads around the massive scale of this problem, we need to look at exactly who is threatening the safety of the three worlds.
Section 1. The unbeatable cosmic threat.
Okay, so the universe is facing this unbeatable force. We're talking about a fierce tribe of Danavas known as the Kalakeyas, and they're commanded by the terrifying Vritra. And as the ancient records show, this threat is absolute. They are quite literally invincible in battle, endued with terrible prowess, and armed to the teeth with a diverse array of weapons. They're pursuing the Celestials in every possible direction, completely routing the gods. And remember, this is happening even with the mighty Indra at their head. Their usual defenses? Completely, utterly useless against Vritra and his forces. The situation is dire, which means it requires a drastically unconventional solution.
Section 2. Brahma's gruesome master plan.
So, when standard tactics fail, what do? You escalate it to the very top. The gods take this catastrophic issue straight to Brahma, the grandsire, and he lays out a highly unconventional blueprint. It goes like this. Step 1. Find the high-souled rishi known as Dadhicha. Step 2. Solicit his bones as a bone. And Step 3. Craft a superweapon from those very bones. I mean, think about it. This is a literal fetch quest for a weapon of mass destruction. But the catch? The primary raw material requires the actual physical skeleton of a living sage. Wild, right?
So Brahma specifically instructs the gods, with Indra and Narayana leading the pack, to go up to this perfectly virtuous rishi and deliver this chilling request. He says, tell him, for the good of the three worlds, give us thy bones. Just pause and think about the sheer audacity of that for a second. The gods are literally going to walk up to a living, breathing man and ask him to just drop dead, simply so they can harvest his skeletal structure to build a weapon.
Section 3. The Paradox of Paradise. All right, armed with the grandsire's permission, the gods cross the river Saraswati. But the moment they arrive at Dadhicha's asylum, the environment completely shifts. It presents this epic, almost jarring contrast. Out in the world, you have pure chaos, right? A cosmic war, fleeing celestials, fierce Danavas causing absolute destruction. But the second they cross into the asylum, they step into this perfectly harmonious utopia. It's this insulated paradise, totally covered with diverse trees and creepers, and it's echoing with the super melodious notes of coquina and chikora birds.
And the vibe here? It is entirely devoid of fear. You've got buffaloes, boars, and deer just wandering freely right alongside tigers. The grisly monarchs of the forest, like lions, are just stretched out peacefully in the glens. Elephants are plunging into the streams, splashing around. And honestly, my favorite detail? Even the bees don't just buzz here. The text actually describes them as humming, as if they're reciting sacred Samon chants. It's like nature is existing in a state of absolute fearless perfection.
And right in the center of this heaven-like sanctuary sits the sage himself. The Celestials behold Dadhicha, and he's looking like the sun itself in absolute splendor. He's blazing in grace of person, honestly looking a whole lot like the grandsire, Brahma himself. He is just radiating this intense divine power and a deep, untouchable peace. And this perfectly sets the stage for the dramatic climax of our narrative. Because here come the gods, carrying the massive weight of their desperate, morbid request right into this pristine sanctuary of life.
Section 4. The Ultimate Selfless Sacrifice. So, the gods approach. They salute the feet of the rishi, and they nervously beg for his bones. And here's the crazy part. Dadhicha doesn't argue. He doesn't try to negotiate or find a loophole. Well pleased, he just responds, "Yea, Celestials, I will do what is for your benefit. I will even renounce this body of mine myself." And with his soul perfectly under control, he says those words and just instantly drops dead. He literally renounces his life in a fraction of a second.
Let's just pause here for a minute to define exactly what is happening, because honestly, it is the absolute linchpin of this entire explainer. To renounce is to voluntarily surrender a possession. Dadhicha isn't murdered. His life isn't forcibly taken from him. He voluntarily and instantly surrenders his ultimate possession, his own existence, so that the universe can survive. It is quite literally the purest expression of sacrificing the self for the greater good of the world.
Section 5. Forging the bone weapon.
Okay, so the gods take the bones exactly as directed, and they immediately rush them over to Twashtri, the celestial artificer. Filled with joy, he gets right to work and manufactures the Vajra. And you've got to listen to these absolute devastating weapon specs. It's forged directly from Dadhicha's bones, it's endued with 6 sides, and it emits this terrible, deafening roar. It is explicitly designed to destroy the most powerful enemies and reduce those fierce foes to absolute ashes. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate instrument of destruction.
Once it's completely manufactured, Twashtri joyfully hands over this magnificent, yet completely terrifying weapon to Indra with a very direct command. He tells him, "With this foremost of weapons, O exalted one, reduce that fierce foe of the gods to ashes, and having slain the foe, rule thou happily the entire domain of heaven."
The fetch quest is complete. Purandara, which, by the way, is just another name for Indra, takes the Vajra from the artificer's hand joyfully and with the proper respect. The gods are no longer scattering in fear. Armed with a weapon made from the willing sacrifice of a completely peaceful sage, they are now ready. They're ready to strike back against Vritra and the Kalakeyas, ready to reclaim heaven and ready to rule happily alongside their followers.
So, we've seen a universe saved today, not just by overwhelming martial strength, but by a really profound paradox. The most devastating weapon of mass destruction the gods could ever wield was born entirely from an act of ultimate, selfless peace, right? In a sanctuary where tigers and deer slept side by side. It really leaves us with a provocative thought to ponder today. If the absolute survival of everything you knew depended on it, what would you willingly sacrifice to save the world? Think on that for a bit, and I'll see you in the next explainer.